In terms of how the city attorney's office works, I'm going to be a different city attorney as well. I think it's important that the city attorney's office serve the citizens, all of the citizens of Long Beach. Not just the neighborhood associations, but people who are in areas that don't vote as much, people who are hardworking individuals who have effectively been disenfranchised, vote in areas where there's only a 4% turnout rate. Those people need to be effectively represented as well, because Long Beach is all of its citizens, not just the neighborhood associations where people own homes and have a lot of money. It's for everybody. And I think government needs to serve its citizens. I think that's been lost here in Long Beach. I've seen it in the cases I've handled, how those cases are dealt with. I've seen it when the current city attorney's office fails to decide to want to work on settling cases or talking about settling cases. I've seen that firsthand. I've seen it go through and make decisions in handling cases like the Pat case, for instance, where it was given opportunity, 3 opportunities to do something, and it did not do those things.
Thank you, Matt. Charlie?
Thank you. Under the charter, we are, the city attorney's office is a sole and exclusive legal advisor to the city. And the city is made up as a municipal corporation. We have a client. So we have a duty of loyalty to our client and to provide those services. So if the citizens or someone decides to sue the city, it's our office who's going to be defending and protecting the tax dollars. We're going to be defending and protecting the police officers, the firefighters association. We work with those groups. We need to understand what our role is. And I think my opponents think that they have a different idea of the office, but that's not consistent with what our charter is. Thank you.
Thank you, Charlie. Okay, well, that completes the prepared questions portion, and we now will move on to the closing statements by each candidate. There is a 2-minute limit on each closing statement. And the order is going to be Matt, Charlie, and James. So, Matt, please go first.
This campaign is about character and competence. On the one hand, you have an opportunity to effect real change in this city. On the other hand, you have 2 candidates that represent the status quo. Mr. Parkin and the Police Officers Association sent out materials that included clear misrepresentations, indicating that Mr. Parkin was being re-elected. He's never been elected before. It had statements in it that Mr. Parkin had 19 years of experience prosecuting drug offenders and prostitutes. Mr. Parkin's office doesn't do that. In fact, the city charter prohibits the city attorney from doing those activities. It's not the city attorney that does those activities, it's Doug Halbert, the city prosecutor's office. But maybe that's what Mr. Parkin wants to run for. I think it's also disingenuous to urge voters to re-elect you when you have been elected to a particular office. That's disingenuous. At another debate about 2 weeks ago, he was asked whether or not Bob Shannon, his predecessor, had appointed him or suggested his appointment into office to give him a leg up in the campaign. Mr. Johnson will recall that Mr. Parkin was insistent that that was not the case, and indeed it was. And Mr. Shannon admitted that back in an article in June. And this city attorney's office right now has been run by a group of people, same group of people, for 50 years. Mr. Shannon relates to that in his memo to the city council in July. On the other hand, you have Mr. Johnson. Mr. Johnson has several years of experience, 2 years of experience by his own admission, in terms of legal work. And I think we need more experience than that in our city attorney's office. Running the second largest city in Los Angeles' legal department. I have that experience. We can have change, and we can make a difference for the citizens of Long Beach that work.
Thank you, Matt. And finally, James. Oh, I'm sorry. Charlie. Sorry about that. Sorry.
Thank you.
Wait, I'm sorry, people. I just did that wrong. Did I? It's Charlie's next. I'm sorry.
Thank you. This is a nonpartisan position, and that's pursuant to our California Constitution, Article 2, Section 6. It's not a political position, and I'm an attorney that's worked in this office, and this would be the culmination of my career to be elected city attorney. I don't want to run for city council. I don't want to run for mayor. I want to be your next city attorney. It's a nuts and bolts job. It has an office of 67 employees, 20 attorneys. that provide and advise our client, the city of Long Beach. It takes experience and knowledge to do that. Mr. Pappas indicates he has experience and knowledge. He has 13 lawsuits currently against the city of Long Beach, been successful in none of those. It's not what we need in the city of Long Beach. It is a position that I've worked 29 years, 19 years here in the city attorney's office, doing all of the different things our office does. He assumes that somehow the city attorney's office avoids elections. There's been an election every 4 years. You can go back and check the records. That hasn't been handed down person to person. That's not how the charter works. James will tell you that. He says he's working on our charter. So it's a misrepresentation to say those things about this office. It's a good office. It's provided quality legal work. We have outstanding attorneys. We have outstanding staff. And that's why the office runs smoothly. Maybe we're a little low profile. But on a council meeting, if the city attorney doesn't have to say a word and the city council is doing their job, that's a good meeting. So when the attorney's doing all the talking, we have other problems. So we need to be able to understand what our office does, and hopefully you will elect an attorney such as myself with the experience necessary to continue running that office. Thank you.
Thank you, Charlie. And James.
Well, I want to thank you, Bob, and thank everyone for coming, and even thank my candidates here for participating in a rigorous discussion. First of all, let me tell you one thing I'm going to do. I'm going to tell you the truth of this campaign. I've been a member of the bar for 10 years. I've discussed my experience, several years working in a law firm, rewriting the city charter. I think working on the highest law of the city of Long Beach qualifies as legal experience. But let me talk to you about what this race is really about. Long Beach, it's time for you to elect your city attorney. We elect a city attorney for a simple reason. It's a critically important leadership position, and it's important in a democracy that the people select their leaders. That's why you elect a city attorney. So the question today is, who will provide the strong, independent leadership that we need in the next city attorney? Not to sit at a desk or be a bureaucrat, but help move the city forward. You know, I'm running for city attorney because I believe I've already shown that experience. I took Long Beach from pension abuses to pension reform. I took Long Beach from budget deficits over a decade to a budget surplus. One of the few cities in Southern California to have that. We stopped deferring maintenance, started reinvesting our streets right here in Los Cerritos. Locust Street, sidewalks, many other projects, tree trimming. As your next city attorney, I'm going to show the strong, independent leadership that we need to move this city forward, to make our city as safe as possible, protect the dollars, stop pension abuses, stop other giveaways, to make sure that you're served, that you're protected, the police department, the police are there, that the trees are trimmed, that services are actually being gotten for taxpayer dollars, not given away on these abuses. So once again, this is a leadership position. We need a strong leader. Vote for the one person who has elected experience, the one person who stood up to people and said, no, I'm going to do the right thing. I'm going to protect the public interest. I'd respectfully ask for your vote for me, James Johnson, for city attorney.
Thank you, James. I would like to thank all of the candidates for coming up. It's really informative, and it was a really great experience to have you here for our short session. So we are going to start the 7th District City Council Forum in about 7 or 8 minutes, 6, 7 minutes. So please take a little bit of a break and come back right at 7:30.